Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing today? It's me again. It's Russell Mills making another video. I want to say hello. Hope everybody's blessed, happy. I hope. I just got a question for you. I'm not going to be too long. Were you guys surprised that Donald Trump got reelected to be president again? Because actually, I was. I wasn't expecting him to, be president again. President now, he's president elect, but obviously, he's going to be president come January. They're going to. What's that, in January 20th, 2025, I guess that's when, they switch, where he gets inaugurated into the White House, which I was very shocked, again, because I thought personally, again, even though I didn't vote, and people are like, oh, you don't have a right to speak on this because you didn't vote. So if with the problems and, that occur, I'm like, okay, cool. But like I said, we have a choice in this country if we want to vote or not. You know what I'm saying? If we don't like the candidates, or if we feel like people, I don't particularly care for either one personally. I say this: would have been good in history to see a woman become president. Yeah, I would have been happy about that. I would have been like, wow, okay, we got a woman president for the first time. I wouldn't have been mad at that. You know what I mean? But one thing I could say about when I heard Kamala Harris speaks, like when I've seen a lot of videos, I think that she wants change in America, and I think she wants things done, and obviously it's not going to be easy. You know what I mean? If because we have a country that likes to tug and pull and tug, for bills and all this other stuff. And I'm not going to say I know all this because I don't, but I'm going to play you guys a clip. This gentleman speaking about the election and Kamala Harris and Donald Trump.
Harris was losing from the very start.
Former President Trump will win the state of Indiana.
He leads 19 electoral college votes to 3.
You see how he's piling up the electoral votes?
Now, these early leads didn't necessarily mean anything. Those first polls closed in predominantly Republican states: Kentucky, Indiana, West Virginia, Oklahoma, Alabama, Tennessee, Missouri, South Carolina. One by one, they all turned red, entirely as expected, with only a small handful of states turning blue: Vermont, Massachusetts, Maryland, DC. Again, as expected. But for all the early talk that Harris had good reason to be optimistic.
Organizers for the Democrats are quite happy with the turnout in Philadelphia.
She is doing better with young voters in Georgia than Joe Biden was doing against Trump 4 years ago.
Within just a couple of hours, every major news organization sounded a bit more like this.
There's a lot of red on that map. I don't think she can do it.
How did that happen? And what was the moment everything changed?
Cold survivor.
Hold on,
I have a terrible trauma history, and I drink to quiet that. And that was my excuse. That was my shield.
Election night broadcasts all focus on the exact same thing: swing states.
Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania.
North Carolina and Georgia.
That's because the vast majority of Americans are actually quite predictable. Polling and past history had pundits figuring Trump would win all of these, and Harris would win all of these. So, in the race to a majority of electoral college votes, 270 is the magic number to become president, before the night even started, everyone just kind of assumed the score would start 226 to 219 in Harris's favor. And of all of those states, do you know how many defied expectations? Not one of them.
Fox News does project that Trump will win West Virginia. Not a very big surprise there. Vice President Harris has taken the electoral votes for New York. Not a big surprise there. So far, no surprises on the board.
So all the attention was on the 7 swing states, where polling told us things could go either way, starting with the so-called blue wall: Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. These were states that had been reliably Democrat for decades, until 2016, when they flipped Republican, giving Trump a clear path to the White House.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next president of the United States, Donald Trump.
In 2020, Joe Biden managed to rebuild that blue wall, recapturing all 3 states. And if Kamala Harris would have any shot at winning the presidency herself, she'd need those 3 states once again. That would put her at exactly 270 electoral college votes, no matter how any of the other swing states went. But Donald Trump had his own path to victory.
If Donald Trump wins North Carolina and Georgia, the vice president cannot win this race if she loses Pennsylvania.
Yes, Trump could also get to exactly 270 electoral college votes by taking Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. But none of these would go his way easily. In Georgia, Trump's early lead, what started as a more than 20-point gap,
63% to 36%.
would be whittled down bit by bit as more votes came in.
Donald Trump in the lead with 54.8% of the vote, 52.7% of the vote.
Trump's up 3.2 points statewide.
In North Carolina, it was Harris out to an explosive early lead.
Kamala Harris is in the lead with 68% of the vote.
And the biggest question mark of the night, which way would the election's most valuable swing state break?
All eyes are on the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
The moment everything changed was the realization that Harris's early leads were primed to evaporate. And I'll explain what I mean. The early calls that Harris was wildly ahead in Pennsylvania.
Take a look at first results from Pennsylvania.
73% if you round up for Vice President Harris, 27% for Donald Trump.
They were an illusion. Exactly 1 minute after polls closed there, Philadelphia posted the results of more than 100,000 ballots. But they were all mail-in ballots, which as a voting method tends to skew Democrat. And this in an urban center, which also tends to skew Democrat.
Ton of vote out there, by the way. I mean, there's no conclusions at the Keystone State.
And that early lead did not hold. As more and more day of votes were counted, Republican votes, that lead shrunk dramatically from the high 70s down to the 60s, then into the high 50s, and even into the low 50s.
Only 1/3 of the votes have been counted there.
North Carolina tracked that same path. It took just 1 hour after polls closed there for Trump to turn the tables on Harris, taking the lead in that state and never letting go. North Carolina would actually be the first swing state the American networks would formally call for Donald Trump.
Former President Donald Trump will win the state of North Carolina.
A big win for former President Trump. It's the first battleground we're calling tonight.
Georgia would be the second battleground state to definitively fall Trump's way.
The state of Georgia will go to former President Donald Trump.
Donald Trump is the projected winner in the state of Georgia.
This is a big win.
In the immortal words of Bob Dylan, you don't have to be a weatherman to know which way the wind is blowing.
It was becoming clear at this point Trump had a broader coalition of support than he'd had in either of the past 2 elections. And Harris was underperforming, not just where Democrats had historically been weak, but even where they had historically been strong.
It's not mission impossible, but the more you get deeper into the count, does it become mission improbable?
She's got to win Pennsylvania. If she doesn't win Pennsylvania, it's over.
So just after midnight Eastern time, she would come about as close to giving up as one can without formally giving up.
So you won't hear from the vice president tonight, but you will hear from her tomorrow.
You can see people already immediately leaving.
If we can describe the start of this night as having the vibe of a wedding, it is slowly morphing into what feels more closer to possibly a funeral.
And about 90 minutes after that, the third critical domino would fall: Pennsylvania. By 2 a.m. Eastern, a majority of U.S. networks would call it for Trump, and both ends of the political spectrum, Fox News and MSNBC, would call the whole thing.
Donald Trump has won the state of Wisconsin, which means he is the winner of this race.
He is now the second president in U.S. history to win non-consecutive terms.
You know, before election night, the big debate was how the swing states would be divvied up. Who would win Pennsylvania? Could Trump break through the blue wall? Could Dems snatch up the Sun Belt? But by the time I went to bed at whatever o'clock it was, Donald Trump was meaningfully ahead in every single battleground state.
Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. We are now winning in Michigan, Arizona, Nevada.
Now, the counts still aren't final. The peculiarity of an election in a country of nearly 350 million people, where 50 states effectively run their own elections, is that election night ended without a complete slate of official results. Importantly, Republicans have flipped the Senate, and they could still win the House, claiming both chambers of Congress, a unified Republican government under Trump's direction, depending on how the remaining count goes. That process will take time. But no matter how you look at it, Trump has managed one of the most dramatic political comebacks of our time. He won the Electoral College, he won the popular vote, and America's 45th president will also be its 47th.
I will not let you down. America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than it has ever been before. God bless you and God bless America. Thank you very much.
So what does everybody have to think about that? So me personally, like I said, I was shocked that he became the president. You know what I mean? I really was. But, you know, and it's also funny too, when Kamala Harris had Jennifer Lopez speak for her, also had Cardi B that was messing up. That was, you know what I mean? So it's like, so it just goes to show you that, you know, these guys, they try to get all these celebrities to co-sign them, and it's like, I don't get that. You know what I mean? It's like, again, all these people in here. See something.
These secret heads in your ear will never.
So just see something for a second. Just want to play another clip. Talking about the presidency.
After the vice president's unexpected loss to Donald Trump, Democrats are now analyzing what was wrong. Some point to a cautious campaign, while others point to President Joe Biden's choice of passing the torch to Kamala Harris. The White House, through Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, has defended President Biden's decision, calling it the right choice. Yet concerns about the Democratic Party's strategy and messaging persist. Was this simply a campaign misstep, or are there deeper issues at play? Our next report examines the challenges facing Democrats.
Democratic nominee for president, Vice President of the United States. It was supposed to be Kamala Harris's moment. After Joe Biden's reluctant decision to pass her the torch, the Democrats believed they were ready to fight, ready to win. But in a brutal defeat, Harris failed to secure the White House,
And the future President Trump overperformed,
handing Donald Trump an unexpected victory, which has shaken the party to its core. Now the Democrats are scrambling, asking one big question. What went so horribly wrong? Some blame Harris's cautious campaign. Others point to Biden himself, accusing the 81-year-old president and his inner circle of recklessly setting up the party for failure.
Biden may not have seen it, but those around him knew. Biden's physical decline might doom the party.
And yet they let it happen. The post-mortem of this campaign reveals the full extent of Harris's loss, a loss that went far beyond swing states. She lost ground everywhere, including in blue strongholds. And the numbers are jarring. Biden pulled 57% of women. Harris dropped to 54%. Biden carried 71% voters of color. Harris fell to 65%.
So anyway, now I'm happy that he's back, so we can get in, things going. Right now, everything is really bad, the economy and all this stuff. The abortion, you know what, it can be, work on it, you know what I mean?
I just believe that I resonate more with the Trump policies than I do on the Democrat side. I've been Democrat my entire life. Families voted Democrat. I probably have been the only family member that decided to step aside and vote for the Republican Party because I believe their values are more in line with my culture as well as my family culture and values.
11% left. Gary, you might.
For many Democrats, the questions are piling up. Why did Harris's team focus so heavily on abortion rights? Why did they fail to engage with Black and Latino men, a weakness the party has known about for years? The criticisms are fierce, but they don't stop with Harris. Democratic insiders now say that her lack of a bold campaign strategy left her vulnerable. She let the GOP define her. Republicans piled on the pressure and said that Harris and her running mate Tim Walz seemed to go into hiding, avoiding interviews for weeks after the convention.
It was expected. He clearly has been having serious issues with his cognitive function for a while, so it was no surprise. But, these calls that Harris is going to be any different. She's actually worse than Biden. They've run the country into the ditch, and she's the border czar, and the American people are hurting, so we're going to change course and get our country back on track.
Some saw it as a major misstep, and among them was Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House press secretary. Addressing these frustrations in her first public statement since the former president's win, she doubled down on Biden's decision to pass the torch.
The president is very proud of what he was able to accomplish. He was very proud, and when he made that decision to hand over the torch, pass the torch to the vice president, he believed it was the right decision to make at that time. This was not the outcome that our team had wanted. So are we disappointed? Yes, we are disappointed. It would be false for me to say that we were not. He believed it was the right decision to make at that time. He believed that she was ready. She was ready to lead on day one, and has been very proud of what he's been able to deliver.
But as Biden's defenders circle the wagons, the whispers are growing louder. Did the Biden administration plan this all along? Did they set up Harris for a fall? These theories have been fueled further after Biden gave his address and declared defeat.
I will do my duty as president. I'll fulfill my oath, and I will honor the Constitution. On January 20th, we'll have a peaceful transfer of power here in America.
But what stuck with everyone was that Biden spoke without stuttering. He was all smiles and even had a few winks here and there. Biden even made a few funny gestures before attempting to trot away from the podium. Many social media users said that Biden looked a decade younger and spoke with clarity that they hadn't seen in 4 years. Some even said that Biden looked the happiest they had ever seen. With the Democrats fighting each other and President Biden signing off in a jolly mood, one thing is clear: the soul-searching is far from over.
Hello and welcome to this special edition of Vantage, live from the White House. America is Trump country again. He will be the 47th president of the United States of America. They're live from the White House, soon to be the new residence of Donald Trump. It was also here that Donald Trump brokered the Abraham Accords. So the voters have a legitimate question in their minds. If those presidents could do it, why not Joe Biden? The Arab voters want to punish the Democrats for supporting Israel. Joe Biden's shadow looms large over this election, and Kamala Harris may end up paying the price for it. This Trump hat, it says, President Trump save America. But this hat is made in China. And this is the Chinese interference that Americans must be investigating. But off late, Donald Trump and the Republicans have made some gains. And the biggest reason for that is illegal immigration. This is more than just a march, they say. This is a demand for accountability. The excitement, the tension is palpable. You can see the security presence. You can see the number of police cars, government buildings like these again fenced up. We're at Harvard University, the alma mater of Kamala Harris. As the night progressed, numbers came in thick and fast, and Donald Trump was soon declared the winner. It's been called a historic comeback. Another American presidency will begin. In Donald Trump's case, his second one.
So that's basically it. But yeah, I was a little shocked myself that Donald Trump became the president. It's going to be the 47th president. I was a little shocked about that because I thought Harris was going to win. But at the end of the day, people could say, oh, you didn't vote, so, you could have got her in and this and that. And, regardless of, people voted or not, at the end of the day, I could give a damn. I really don't care about politics as a whole personally, because I think it's a bunch of bullshit. Personally, I don't care. People don't have to agree with me or my situation. I mean, my opinion, I should say. But at the end of the day, I don't care. I want us as Americans to be better. I want us to understand each other a lot better and do the right thing. That's what I care about. And of course, I would like, for this country, for them not to have so much, as far as having like everything going up, like taxes and food, but the stuff's gonna keep going up, like regardless, but I just say this, like I've said in other videos, what's gonna happen if people can't afford groceries or rent? You know what I'm saying? And for their families and stuff. Now what happens? They can't afford, they can't live there. Now they're on the street. Now what happens? You know what I mean? Does anyone give a damn about that? That's the question. I understand you got to work hard in this life. That's fine. But the problem is we're working hard and the dollar ain't stretching. Again, that's just my personal opinion. Everybody don't have to agree with me or I have to agree with them. But it's like, you got to look at your own situation like I look at my situation. I'm always broke. You know what I mean? And it's like, yes, of course, it's the choices, jobs that you choose and stuff like that. That's, my decision just as well. But the way it is to me, in my opinion, they make everything so high. And then it's like, how do you expect to get ahead if everything's so damn high all the time? Okay, that's the question. It's like people, you know what I mean? If you have an immigration problem, fix it. If you have other problems where people aren't making enough money, fix it. Help them out. Because we pay taxes just like everyone else pays taxes. And it's like, when, you know what I mean? All I want, just like anybody else, is to work hard, have some money in my pocket, take care of my family, do the right thing, take care of myself, make sure I'm healthy enough to go to work every day. That's all I really care about. You know what I mean? I feel like if you keep raising taxes, keep raising foods, keep raising rents, it's like, what do you expect people to do? They're not going to be able to live. Because I'll just say this again, the paychecks aren't getting any bigger, you know what I'm saying? And that's the bottom line. They're not. That's why people are hustling, trying to do all these type of jobs just to try to get some type of money. And to me, I don't think that's fair to be working all these hours at every given time and you're just not, getting anything in return. So I don't know what President Trump's going to do come, whatever, if he's, lives in long enough to, to do his 4 years in office or whatever, him and JD Vance, whatever, when they get into the White House. But it's like, we got to do, you guys got to do something because the homelessness in this country is really high. So, and if people can't afford to live, you know what I mean? I'm going to say to you rental people, you property owners, it's like if you don't have a good amount of people to live, then what are you going to do as far as your money? All right? Because if there's a lot, granted, there's going to be people that are going to live, and people are going to be all right, and there's a lot of people that ain't going to be all right. So that's the question. But that's basically it, all I have to say today. But I'm just going to say, we'll see what happens. But feel free to check out more of my videos if you like to. Type in my name is Russell Mills, RUSSELLMILLS. May 22nd, 2017 was my first video called Why Black People Settle for Less. And I just say this. When I got onto YouTube, I wanted to get a goal of, people watching my videos. I reached my goal, in my opinion. I have over 100,000 views in 7 years. So I'm going to say, thank anybody that has watched any of my videos, over the course of time. You don't have to agree with them. You don't have to like it. But that was my goal. You know what I mean? And I ended up getting what I got. So at this point, I really, say if people want to watch, cool. If you don't, I don't care. I got my goal. So, you know what I mean? But feel free to check out more of my videos if you like. All right. Take care. Peace.